he would buy 60% of the business, keep the founder involved. They blew the brands up. Both exits were over 9 figures.
So he just turned 15 million into 90 million.
Yo, what's up, guys? Just wrapped up the most incredible interview with Alex Upperman, which is what I think is one of the biggest opportunities in the world right now for direct response guys who know how to do VSLs and partner with Amazon guys to take what they were going to get as like a 3x multiple on their business and boost them up to like 10x multiples, all by using your powers to get them on Facebook and YouTube, which they haven't cracked yet. If you guys don't know Amazon, he sold Zone Nutrition, is one of the first big acquisitions for Amazon-only brands. There is a huge amount of Amazon-only brands going on right now, and I just sat down with Alex and rapped over the whole space, the whole opportunities, and the action plans that you can take today to get involved with these guys. I'm going to talk about business, like the same kind of business partnerships that I did with Mindvalley that you can do with these companies to just make 8 and 9 figure plays. There's a story of a guy inside of there who bought these companies, bought 2 companies for $15 million each, sold both of them for $150 million, right? And all they did was just get him in retail and get him into the other distribution channels like Shopify using Facebook and YouTube ads. And that's the opportunity we're revealing here. I've attached it to the end of this video, so sit and watch all the way to the end of this video. It is so powerful. We are going deep into this whole thing, and it is one of the biggest opportunities I am seeing today. Watch the video today, right now. Check this out. It could absolutely change your life.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Alex Upperman. This is an Amazon legend, and we are talking about today some really fascinating stuff. I met Alex over at the Geek Out exec event in Orange County, and we really got into a conversation that I just knew I had to share it with you, and I had to share it with pretty much anyone who was basically like us, Facebook, YouTube marketers who didn't really give a crap about Amazon and just saw it as like kind of a distraction, or maybe even like just for some other people. But we were talking with Alex and going over so many opportunities for partnering with Amazon brands and Amazon only brands and what's going on there. And there seems to be like a large amount of acquisition stuff. So Alex and I wanted to get on a phone call, or I just wanted to drill Alex really, because there's so much about this that I don't know. And there's so much about this that I know nobody in our industry is talking about. And I just had to get on a call and talk to Alex and just reveal what's going on over here. Because if you're trying like this, there could be monster 8-9 figure plays. And our goal of this interview is to really reveal some of those plays and also show you an action plan and some action steps that we can all apply to go out there. So without further ado, I will start by introducing Alex, right? I first heard about this guy at my manufacturer. We were going out to manufacturer and they're like, yeah, we used to work with this company called Zone Nutrition and they got acquired. And I was like, oh, I'd love to be acquired. Let's definitely use you guys as a manufacturer. Alex is the guy who founded Zone Nutrition, right? So we shared the same manufacturer, and he was speaking on multifamily real estate. So if you ever think about what you would do if you exited a brand for a crap ton of money and you got into real estate, this is exactly where Alex is right now, but he's at the bleeding edge of pretty much all things Amazon. And his company now is 12 Oak Capital. And Alex, what's up, bro? Thanks for jumping on the call with us.
What's up? Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I did a lot more research into you, man. And you multiple Amazon companies? Is that what your background is?
Yeah, man. I mean, I started very humble beginnings, kind of before Gary Vee was telling people to go garage selling and doing all that. I was doing that. So got started when my senior year of college. I'd get out of class and I'd drive around Springfield, Missouri, going to thrift stores and garage sales, looking for used books. Started selling used books on Amazon pretty quickly. Got into everything under the sun and was a reseller, and just I just hustled my way in through that business, and then did that for about 4 or 5 years before I got smart and started building my own brands. And our first brand was Zone Nutrition, the supplement brand that we had a nice exit on, and then we built a number of different brands in different categories through the years. Because once you know the model, just as you know, and on the direct response side, once you have the playbook, you can pretty much apply it to any opportunity.
Oh, dude. Well, I'm stoked to dive into it. I'm really excited to dive into a lot of your story here. But first, I just want to feed the viewers a little bit. Like, what are some of the most amazing Amazon acquisition stories you've heard of that really got you kind of excited, that made you want to focus on Amazon and not the Facebook, YouTube traffic side of the world?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I got started in building my first Amazon brand in 2014, um, I wasn't aware of any acquisitions that had happened for Amazon only brands at that time, but I knew that you could build a sellable brand on Amazon. That was pretty clear. But the space for, this whole idea of private labeling on Amazon was so new still that there hadn't been brands that have gotten mature enough to sell yet. And then the acquisitions kind of started happening in 2015, 16. So I'm watching that as I'm building my brand. But they were generally smaller acquisitions because we hadn't gotten to a point yet where there had been really large brands built on the platform, or very few, and they hadn't sold. And then we sold in 2017, in April of 17, and we were at the time, as far as I know, I think the largest private label acquisition at the time, up to that point. And, that really opened up people's eyes to the opportunity. Not only could you make a lot of profit and cash flow from these businesses, but you could turn around and sell it for a lot of money. And since then, I mean, there's been acquisitions that dwarf mine in comparison. I had a buddy that, we got started around the same time, and, I sold and he held on to his business, and he had an exit about 2 years ago for over 600 million in the pet space, pet supplements. So incredible Amazon story there. And then just met a couple guys that sold a Mighty Patch, which this is public information, so I'm not sharing anything confidential. They just sold that for over 600 million, and that started as an Amazon only brand. I've had other friends that have sold in the $100 to $200 million mark that literally 100% of their sales are Amazon. Now, granted, these were acquisitions that kind of happened when, in 2021, whenever the market was hot for everything. So acquisitions have, the multiples have come down some, but there's been some, several 9-figure exits for Amazon only brands at this point.
That is insane. That is insane. I mean, when I'm talking about, like, when I'm thinking about the whole Shopify, I guess, world, like Facebook, YouTube, direct response kind of world. And then when I started talking to the guys who were in the Amazon kind of space, I mean, there were so many guys at this meetup that had sold Amazon brands, right? Like, it was like left and right. It was almost like, basically, if you just get your Amazon only store to this X amount of revenue, like, guys are getting acquired. Like, it almost just felt like just this normal thing that happens all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, and you don't really need to get to that significant of a scale. I mean, we can talk about the different platforms where you can find these businesses a little bit later. I know that was one of your questions, but, there's brands Amazon only brands that sell with $50,000 a year of profit or $100,000 a year of profit, and then all the way up into the millions. And so, there's a large market, whether, there's obviously private equity groups out there that find these businesses attractive. There's strategic buyers. Like, we sold our business to a publicly traded company that owned, 50 different supplement brands, but they were more focused on the retail side. They saw us as a way to get exposure to this e-commerce space, which is that, quickly growing. So there's strategic buyers that are interested. And then there's individuals. We've sold one of our brands to just an individual who was looking for an entry point into this space. And instead of starting something, why not go ahead and just buy something that's already got some momentum?
100%. Yeah. And that's definitely one of the key pieces I want to talk about. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest plays, I think, for a lot of guys who are watching this thing, is guys who understand direct response, Facebook, YouTube, and want to just tap into an Amazon only brand and just apply their strategy to that kind of space and then go for a big exit play too. I mean, why don't I hear people talking about this? Like, that seems like a new idea, but it seems like I don't really hear much guys talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, in the e-commerce space, it tends to be pretty siloed. You got guys who go and focus on the Amazon only side, and then you have guys who just focus on the direct response side. From my standpoint, I've always seen saw a big opportunity in combining those two. I've seen it happen a few times, but it's rare. It's rare for somebody to really master both of those channels. But when you do, you can sell for a lot bigger multiple. So instead of selling for 4 times EBITDA, now maybe you can sell for 10 times EBITDA because you're doing 50% of your sales on Shopify and 50% of your sales on Amazon. And to a buyer, that's a lower risk profile business because you have some sales diversification. So it's for people who have that direct response skill set and experience, if they can figure out also the Amazon piece, which I think is probably easier to figure out than the direct response side, then you can build a business with a lot of with a lot of upside, just because the valuations are going to be higher. Not to mention the synergies of, if you're running a lot of paid traffic to on the direct response side, that's naturally going to create search volume for your brand on Amazon. And so some brands that come to mind that have done it successfully would be like an Organifi. They were crushing it direct response, and because they were running so much paid traffic on the direct response side, they were naturally getting a lot of traffic for their brand name on Amazon. So by just making sure they had their product there, they had their, good images, good product page, good reviews, etc. They were getting a ton of sales on Amazon just as a halo effect of their direct response efforts. So Athletic Greens is another one. There's a few others that I've come across, but for the most part, you don't see that combination very often.
Wow. Okay. Let me just be clear on what you just said here. So like Amazon only brands, right? Maybe that 3x multiple on EBITDA, you said, and then
it's varied through the years. When I was selling, it was 3 to 4 times was what you could get, and obviously it's a sliding scale based on how big the business is and how quickly it's growing. And then kind of during 2020, 21, during the COVID boom, multiples for Amazon only brands were getting up into the high single digits. If it was call it, 3, 4, 5 million EBITDA or more, and then. But they've come back down to earth. So multiples have kind of gone full cycle and come back down to kind of the 4, 3, 4, 5 range for Amazon only brands. But if you have sales diversification and you have some, a significant portion of your sales through your own sales platform, then that multiple is gonna take a jump. Is going to jump from the 3 to 4 that you would see being only on Amazon.
So as a direct response marketer, right? If I come in and I grab an Amazon only brand, right? And then I go blast them on Facebook and YouTube, that's going to, not only will my multiple go up, but obviously revenues are going to go up significantly because it's just going to be a huge amount of extra revenue. I mean, even just, if I'm just on Facebook only and I add YouTube, I'm adding an extra 100% revenue. If I'm doing 50 grand a day on just Facebook, I can do another 50K a day on YouTube. I mean, like that is huge bump. And then the multiple goes up too. I mean, that is just like a perfect storm worth of opportunity based on what I'm saying.
100%. And then the problem with Amazon is you don't own your customer data. So when you go to launch new products, like if you're not building your list off Amazon, you don't really have people you can go to launch products. That's what a really powerful thing with owning or doing the direct response side is you're building that customer data, and then you can use that as an asset when you're launching products on Amazon. Or say you have a product on Amazon that's not ranking well, you could use your customer list to go boost that product on Amazon. And once you've got search ranking on Amazon, then that flywheel is just turning for you. The big thing too, though, is you can buy these Amazon brands, but you need to find one where the unit economics are going to work for direct response, right? Because that's the challenge you're going to be faced with on direct response side is, can you acquire customers profitably? And that's why you tend to see a lot higher price points on the direct response side than you do Amazon. So Amazon only brands tend to be more competitively priced. So that is something you need to be mindful of is, do the price points of the products. If you're going to buy a brand that's just on Amazon, does it support running paid traffic? And so that is one consideration.
Damn. Well, I want to go over just real quick my own limiting beliefs on Amazon because I've heard some things. So I just want to hear what you think about this. When I first heard about Amazon, and I'm like, I don't really want to put my product on Amazon because I want them to go through my own funnel so I can get higher AOV. If I really block that opportunity for them to buy on Amazon, then they'll be forced to buy through my funnel. What do you feel about that kind of mindset there?
I think it's okay to do that for a short period of time. I mean, one example that comes to mind is Magic Spoon cereal. They were a huge success. They launched direct to consumer through their own funnels, and they waited to add Amazon. And I was literally watching their search volume on Amazon skyrocket. People are searching Magic Spoon, getting 100,000 searches a month on Amazon, and they weren't selling the product there. So you couldn't even get it on Amazon, but people wanted to buy there because they come across Magic Spoon on a podcast ad or a Facebook ad or whatever it may be. and they want to purchase on Amazon. So Magic Spoon waited, and I think that's okay to do. But you can't ignore it forever. At some point, you just have to acknowledge the fact that a majority of Americans have an Amazon Prime membership that they're paying $130 a year for. They want to use it. They want the 2-day shipping. They know if there's something wrong with the order or it doesn't show up, it's an easy return process. They don't know that if they're going through your funnel, right? Like they might be brand new to you. There's probably some skepticism. That's why conversion rates are a lot lower in a sales funnel than they are on Amazon. I mean, our conversion rates with our supplement brand were average 35-40%. So if someone landed on our page on Amazon, 35% of the time they were buying the product. That's unheard of on the direct to consumer side. So I think that, again, you have to acknowledge that there's going to be people who leak out of your funnel because they just would rather purchase on Amazon. So if you're not taking advantage of that, you're missing out on revenue there. And then not only that, those people going over and searching for your brand and buying it is naturally going to lift you in the search results on Amazon for whatever your major keywords are. And then you're going to get other sales from people who've never heard of you and never gone through your funnel. And so it has this leverage effect and this halo effect that is really powerful.
Yeah, and I feel like by the time they went to Amazon, my ads are already gone, right? They're already off my funnel anyway, right? So maybe they don't need to see it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, no, that's fascinating. Because I mean, for me, I think about if you want to be super successful, you need to work with like some of the world's biggest companies, like Amazon, Facebook. Facebook is rich, so if I master Facebook, I'll be successful. YouTube is super rich. If I master that in Google, I'll be super successful. But for some reason, I'm leaving out this massive other super rich guy, and I'm like what? Combine all the super rich guys and find a way to work with all of them, and just blow your own.
Yeah,
like that's where all the money's flowing.
And that's where people buy shit, right? Like Facebook, they're going there to as an escape or whatever. They're not necessarily thinking of like going on there to buy something. People are going on Amazon to buy things. It is the Google for products. So, people 5-10 years ago, most actually purchase intent searches started on Google. Then over time, that shifted heavily to Amazon because, you're not going to Google to search for a cell phone case to buy it. You're just going to go to Amazon. So if you have purchase intent, you're going to Amazon.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Lesson there, guys. I mean, throw a little bit of, let's start cracking the other rich guy. Let's start cracking Amazon. What do you think some of the problems Amazon only brands are experiencing that direct response marketers have figured out?
Well, you don't own your customer data, right? So when you're doing direct response marketing, you're getting email addresses and you're building your pixels and all those things, all these assets, right, that you can leverage. You're not getting any of that whenever you're selling on Amazon. Amazon's getting that data, but you aren't. So that's one challenge. Another challenge is just over time, the platform, because there's very low barriers to entry, it's gotten more and more competitive, and it's a worldwide market. If somebody, some Russian hacker wants to start an Amazon brand, they can start an Amazon brand. Or what you've seen in over the last 5 years is a lot of Chinese manufacturers who were selling to Amazon only brands are like, these guys are making a lot of money on there. Why don't we open our own account, sell it for an even lower price? And Amazon has encouraged this because at the end of the day, they want the lowest price for the consumer. So I've always looked for categories where, I'm not going to be knocked off by a Chinese supplier. That's why I like supplements and skincare and food to a lesser degree. But even, products that I know the Chinese manufacturers can't compete with or aren't going to do. And then it's gotten more expensive because of increased competition and also Amazon putting a more focus on their sponsored product on their PPC platform. It's gotten more expensive to advertise on there. So that's kind of squeezed you there. And, maybe 6-7 years ago, you could spend 5% of your revenue on ads, and be really profitable. And now if you're not careful, you could easily spend 25 or 30% of your revenue on ads. And so, cost per clicks have gone up and, just cost overall on the platform to sell have gone up. So it's, squeeze margins some, but again, if you pick the right products and coming back to another advantage direct response guys have is, you guys are typically selling premium price products because you have to support your ad costs and your customer acquisition costs. by then taking those products and putting them on Amazon, and maybe you're selling a $50 product where a lot of the other products on Amazon are 25. Organifi is a good example of this. Athletic Greens is a good example of this. Those products are 2, 3, 4 times the cost of comparable products in the market, but they're still selling really well on Amazon because of that, the things we talked about earlier and all that traffic they're getting. So, you really want to make sure you have plenty of fat margin on the front end to, make up for those increasing costs, whether it's PPC or whether it's storage fees or fulfillment fees, et cetera.
Yeah, I do have one guy who's in our VSL Masterclass who is he's the most expensive product in his niche in Amazon, and he's on Amazon and he's doing Facebook and YouTube ads, and people still are going to him, because he just has that recognition, right? It's like that you become that premium kind of guy, and you see why are people buying this more expensive one, which I personally would rather be the more expensive guy.
Yep, 100%. And yeah, you don't want to get in the price. You don't want to get in the price game. And there's some categories that seem to be, you can see it on this. Okay, this seems to be purely price driven, and then there's other categories where, people are willing to pay for a premium. Like one category doesn't work to just compete on prices. Supplements, right? Because you start getting really low on price, customers starts to become skeptical. They're like, "Why is this fish oil $8.99, right? Like, what do they put in here, right?"
Yeah.
Same with skincare. And so there's certain categories that lend themselves better to having that premium price products. But yeah, you'll see it all the time where a premium price product on Amazon is the number one in the category, and they're not only are they selling a lot more, but they're making a lot more margin for every sale. And that's the business you want to be in. You don't want to be playing the price game.
Hell yeah. Okay. I mean, this sounds like the whole thing is a monstrous opportunity here. Let's pivot into like the action plan. So right now, in terms of like a sales pitch, like if I approached an Amazon only brand and I'm a direct response guy, I know VSLs, I know how to blow up Facebook, YouTube. And it seems like the pitch is relatively easy, especially if they're like, like your multiple is going to go up a lot if we crack these 2 channels, right? Like, first off, why haven't they scaled the channels? And what do you think how would you like me to come talk to you if you're an Amazon only brand? And like, how do you make this look like a complete no brainer, even though it kind of just looks like a no brainer, like in terms of multiples going up?
Yeah. I mean, I think most Amazon sellers haven't cracked the direct response side because they don't have the skill set. Their skill set has been built on Amazon. And there's been there's been courses that have kind of been sold to Amazon sellers of, hey, you're missing out on this Shopify opportunity. Here's a course showing you how to do it. I've seen people spend a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of effort on trying to build up their Shopify site. And then they figure out pretty quickly that, wow, this is a lot more effort. On Amazon, once you have the playbook of how to launch products, identify opportunities, it's really like all of your effort should just be going towards launching more products. And on the Shopify side, it was like they were taking all that effort that could have gone towards launching more products and building, significantly building their Amazon brand. All that effort now was going towards trying to like get a funnel that would actually convert, and it's just not making headway because that's not the skill set they had. Right. And so, there's exceptions to the rules, and there's been people who've figured it out and have built monster businesses as a result, but they're very, very few far in between. Most people just haven't cracked the code on figuring out how to do the off Amazon side. So if you have that skill set, that's a tremendous value add to somebody who's got a successful Amazon business, is looking to diversify, and I think they're like, I know I would have been open to those pitches when I was running my brand. Let's partner up. Let's see what you can do. And if you're successful, like, whether it's ownership or whether it's a rev share or something, because there's a huge amount of value to me,
for sure.
in that scenario. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's all about how much more money would you make, right? I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Does it make you more money? And now the reason I really wanted to bring this up, because in the program, we do talk about partnership opportunities, right? You don't actually have to start your own brand to make moves. And this is the same move that I made with mindvalley.com. They're a successful company. They didn't have VSLs cracked on YouTube or Facebook. They kind of had a model that was struggling, which was the webinar model. And I was like, let me come in. If I hit X amount of revenue, I unlock X amount of equity. And for and you guys have to pay me every time a sale comes through in my VSLs. So it becomes this like residual income stream for this whole thing. And there's a lot of, it's not the best model. You need to be very careful if you're doing these models, because Mindvalley happens to have an amazing company and culture and team. I've heard a lot of guys who've come in and just their team just fails to execute or fails to make things happen, because it's kind of, there's a lot of stuff going on. But in terms of like there's two options, right, that I want to talk to you about. One is just me coming in as a business partner saying, yo, you don't do anything, Alex. I'm going to crack Facebook. I'm going to crack YouTube. If you don't have a Shopify store set up, let's set one up, right? If not, I'm just going to direct traffic. I'll build the funnel out. I'll just run this as like my own business, essentially, through your company. And if I had X equity, I just unlock. I'm an affiliate, so I have to earn I have to earn it, right? I don't even do like if I don't get sales, I deserve nothing. That's my whole mindset, right? Yeah. And that's like, and that's a really easy way to pitch it. That's step one. Another one is you just coming in and buying out the owners, right? So, what do you think about both options so far?
I think what you did was, I think both options are viable. I think if you're going to partner, I think what you did was smart. Was that you know, I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs and like, oh, well, let me go partner with somebody maybe smaller, right? Maybe they're more likely to say yes. But honestly, I think it's an easier pitch to somebody who's already successful and who already has momentum and resources. Like, you know, you went to Mindvalley, who was already really successful, and that makes your job, honestly, it makes your job a lot easier too. But you found an area where they were struggling, where there was like a lot of low hanging fruit for them and matched your skill set. So I think if you're going to partner, look for brands who, you know, have a checklist of the things you're looking for, but look for somebody who's successful on Amazon. And then checks the other boxes you're looking for, because you're going to know what's working off Amazon, right? So once you've identified that, then you can go look for brands that kind of match those criteria. Or you can go the buying option, right? And there's sites like empireflippers.com. There's sites like Flippa. Those tend to have smaller brands, Amazon only brands for sale. They have like a lot of different internet companies for sale, but you can find FBA businesses on there. And then if you want to look for a bigger brand, you know, say $500,000 or $1 million plus in EBITDA, that would be like Website Closers is probably the number one broker for larger FBA businesses. And then there's been others that have popped up. I think Quiet Light is another broker. I'm forgetting the name. There's a new one that popped up in the last year that I'm blanking on right now, but you know, get on their list. And then you can start looking at these businesses, you know, sign an NDA and look through the packages and see, you know, get an insight into these businesses and just start looking at them and go from there.
Yeah. One of the questions I want to ask is, I guess one of the main benefits, sorry, somebody just walked in to clean the room. I'm in a hotel in Colombia for everybody. But one of the benefits that I'm seeing from partnering with brands is the main one is basically reducing the amount of time it takes for you to have a massive cash buyout through an exit, right? Versus starting your own brand, maybe it takes 3 years, right? You need the history. If you wanted to get acquired, what's like the shortest time frame, I guess, if you're starting a new brand versus like if you hop on somebody who's already been around for 3 or 4 years and you just help them hockey stick on that last year. I mean, yeah, that seems like a really fast play to like get someone exited for a lot more.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we exited super quick. We were exited like at the 2.5 year mark, which is like about the quickest you'll see in that space. And we sold too early, right? We should have let the business season more, and our EBITDA was growing so quick. We left a lot of money on the table because we sold so quick. So, you know, probably 3 years is about the quickest you're going to see from start to acquisition. It's typically going to be longer. So if you can come in later in the process, you're going to compress that timeline to an exit for sure. Plus, if you're, you know, putting fuel on the fire and say you come in at year 3 and you help them grow that business over the course of the next year, that's going to make selling that business so much easier, because the last thing that someone who's looking to buy a business wants to do is buy a business that's plateauing or declining in sales. Like those businesses don't usually sell, or they sell for a ridiculously low multiple because the trend line is flat or down. People want to buy growing businesses. So if you're able to go in and help grow the business and add another channel, that could help solidify a deal. We've already talked about the higher multiples because now the sales diversification, but reigniting that growth or showing that, higher growth than they would have had otherwise is going to help get a deal done. Like the reason we were able to sell and why we had leverage during our process is because we were growing so quickly.
Wow. I mean, that is a serious leverage point in negotiation. I mean, if you are an Amazon brand who has flatline, you need basically someone to come in to partner with to help you pick it up. You need to crack direct.
Yeah, and a lot of brands have flatline because they showed tremendous growth during COVID because everybody's shopping from home, buying, tons of shit when they're sitting at home all day. And then as the economy opened back up, that growth has gone away. So there's a lot of brands, I would say a majority of Amazon only brands are sitting in a position where they're flat or maybe down from where they were just a couple of years ago.
Okay. That's incredible. I mean, if anyone's watching, you guys see that right there. I mean, that is definitely an opportunity and definitely a way to get a good amount of equity out of this whole thing. I mean, they really might not get a whole lot, right? Their margins would have been down. I mean, their valuation or their multiple went down a lot, and now you're able to come in and really boost that up. I mean, you're able to probably negotiate something pretty strong there. Mm-hmm. That's pretty incredible. So I want to talk about the strategy that you mentioned back in Orange County, which was coming in and helping the founders take chips off the table, right? Not like the exit whole, like, hey, founders, here's a bag of cash, see you later. And then now you have no one running that whole thing, but coming in, helping them take chips off the table. I mean, I'm imagining if you're able to do the media buying side of things on Facebook, YouTube, and you're helping them take chips off the table. I mean, maybe that's just, if you're really going for a monster play personally, that would be the way to go versus just a partnership opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously partnering is one scenario, but if you're wanting to maybe buy in ownership of a business, I personally like the idea of buying into a business that has a strong founder and keeping them heavily with a lot of skin still in the game. So maybe you go in and you buy 40% of the business or 50 or 60% of the business, but leave them enough equity where they're still, they want to still stay involved. There's a lot of knowledge that these founders have about their businesses. And, this was really the mistake that a lot of the aggregators made, is that they came into the space very arrogant because on paper, these businesses look simple. So in their mind, they're like, okay, well, we're going to buy 100% of these businesses. We're going to tell the founders they can walk day one. So no earnout, no, obligation to stay on and continue running the brand. We got this. We're going to throw a bunch of MBAs at it because if you just go hire MBAs must be really smart and they can figure this out. That doesn't work. And it's blowing up in these aggregators' faces. Thrasio is raising at a $13 billion valuation. Now I don't know if they could raise at a $600 million valuation.
Wow.
And it's because of this overconfidence of, we can do this ourselves. We don't need you. Whereas if they would have had earnouts in place, or if they would have say they would have bought 60% of the business, kept the owners engaged, that business would be in a much healthier position than it's in. So yeah, if you're able to come in and help somebody get chips off the table, which a lot of owners want to continue running their business, but they're motivated to sell because they've had this successful business on paper, making profits, but they haven't put any cash in their pocket, because all their cash is getting eaten up by inventory. If you're running a physical products business, you oftentimes might be making millions of dollars a year in EBITDA, but that EBITDA does not equal cash in your bank account. And all your cash is tied up in inventory and fueling new products and existing products, et cetera. So yeah, if you're able to solve that for somebody and help them actually put some cash away, but keep them involved. And I know people who've done this strategy where they've gone in, they bought 60% of the business. I know a guy here locally pretty well. He's done this 2 times in the Amazon space. He's bought, his acquisitions have been in the $15 to $25 million range. He would buy 60% of the business, keep the founder involved. They blew the brands up. Both exits were over 9 figures. After they, basically, in just a matter of 2 years, they then went and added Shopify. They went and added retail, and because of that sales diversification, in addition to the revenue increase, they were able to go from, $25 million valuation to $150 million valuation in 24 months. And that's obviously extreme scenario, but it gives you an idea of what's possible when you do that.
Sorry, had to pause the video really quick to make it super clear for you. This is exactly what we teach inside of the VSL Masterclass, right? If you use the power of VSLs, you can use this. This is the way, by partnering with these brands, using authority figures, making VSLs, making campaigns that blow up on Facebook and YouTube to boost these multiples of Amazon companies. This is the opportunity that we can help you we can help you profit from inside of the VSL Masterclass. So you need these skills. VSLs are the #1 way to blow stuff up. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because this is what I'm seeing for my students. This is one of the biggest opportunities I'm seeing in the world right now. If you're not already inside the VSL Masterclass and you're interested in this play, if you look at this play and you're like, yeah, I want to do this, faster way to get to an acquisition, right? You partner with somebody who's already incredible. You get yourself a business partner who already knows how to handle all of the hard stuff, fulfillment. If you're an affiliate, this is the way to go. If you're a dropshipper, this is the way to go. If you're an agency owner, this is the way to go. Partner with these Amazon brands, blow them up instead of making other people money. Sign up to the VSL Masterclass. If you haven't already done it, go to peterkel.com, VSL Masterclass, fill out the form and talk to one of our success coaches. This is the way to go. Use me as a mentor to help guide you through this entire process. That's what we do. The Masterclass gets you up to speed, and the Elite Group Coaching gets me as your mentor to guide you through these businesses. I'm personally doing VSL.ai, so I can't do it, but I want to live through these adventures through you guys. So if you want to do one of these plays, it's going to be worth your weight in gold to sign up to the Masterclass and get me as a coach, because I also want to do one of these plays, right? But I'm just slammed right now. So do it. That's why I'm revealing this opportunity. I want to make these monster plays through you guys. So sign up to the class, jump on my group coaching call so we can all grind on this opportunity together. Sign up today. See you later.
Okay, hold on. I just did the math on that there. Right. I just did the math on that. So this guy comes in with $15 to $20 million on it. Putting $15 to $20 million. He buys out 60% of the business to keep the founders involved. He then scales up Shopify to retail. They both sell for $150 million. His 60% is now worth $90 million. So he just turned $15 million into $90 million.
Yep.
Over the course of how many years?
Scenarios.
In both
acquisitions. He did that twice. Both were 24 months, which is unbelievable. But he's got the playbook down. And he's got his team that he takes with him. He's got he can bring in, but he makes the key strategic play is he finds a good business, is doing really, has enough scale on Amazon with a good founder, keeps the founder involved, and then he brings in the rest of the infrastructure. And he's kind of got his go-to, executive team, and then he knows what he needs to do to increase the valuation. So that's okay. We're going to put resources and an emphasis on direct to consumer. We're going to put resources and emphasis on retail, and we're going to go pedal to the metal for the next couple of years. And then obviously the market went crazy and it was good timing and all of that. But regardless, they were able to significantly grow the business. And when you do that, you can sell those businesses really in any market environment.
Wow.
You don't need trillions of money being printed to sell those businesses, because those are attractive businesses for anybody.
Wow. Okay. That's phenomenal. I mean, if I was thinking about a play, right, like paying someone $15 million coming in, what would I do? I mean, in the VSL world, it's really just like, what celebrity can I get involved, right? What celebrity authority figure I can get involved who's qualified to be talking about this product and has a similar story that I can use this product in a marketing, in a VSL, that we can go use direct response or whatever. I mean, if you look at Goalie, right? Goalie was a huge brand. They are a huge brand, but they were ex-affiliate marketers. And when they went out and hired Ellen DeGeneres and got on that TV show, I knew that these guys had seen the power of Ellen in the past and partnered with them. And I mean, something like that is a play. There is now the new Steve Harvey is one of the biggest VSLs right now. Someone just partnered with Steve Harvey to get him to sell a green supplement. I mean, it's the way to go. I mean, look at Meaningful Beauty with Guthrie Ranker. It's just working with celebs, making a badass infomercial or a VSL and blasting that direct response wise. I mean, it is retail, don't know nothing about, I mean, I don't know much about that, but all I know is that, I mean, solid celeb, if you can get a campaign to doing, 6 figures a day easily and consistently on Facebook and YouTube, and just build that out. I mean, holy moly. I mean, if you can just strap on 100K a day to any business, right? Or you just pick a good one.
and you don't really even necessarily need to know retail that much. If you master that piece and you scale up a uh, direct to consumer campaign like that, retail is going to come calling, right? Because the
Oh yeah.
issue, most people think that just getting into retail is the magic bullet. It's not getting into retail; it's getting sell through in retail. And so, what's powerful about scaling up a direct to consumer campaign is now you have all these consumers. Same what we talked about earlier, the halo effect on Amazon. Those people leak out of the funnel and go to Amazon. Those people also are going into their Walmart or their Target or their CVS looking for that product. And so now you have sell through on the retail side so that when you do add retail, if you do as a channel, now you're actually moving product through the channel, which is huge. And that's why, Golly is one of the most, the highest valued supplement brands in the world now with just a handful of SKUs because they started with Ellen and then they mastered Amazon and then they, went into retail. Everybody came calling, and the sell through on all those channels is strong because they mastered the direct consumer piece first.
Wow, that is so cool. So where do I go to meet Amazon only brands? Is the brokers the main place? Will they just introduce people to each other? Like where does the guy go to meet and find all these Amazon only brands?
Yeah, I mean, in the Amazon space, it's pretty simple. It's really just going to Empire Flippers or Flippa or website closers and just getting on their list. It's as simple as like, giving them your information, and then now they start emailing you deals as they come about. And so that's where I would start is just get on those lists, start looking at brands. They'll give you kind of a teaser, and then if you want more information, you'll oftentimes have to sign like an NDA, and then you get access to a much deeper set of information.
Epic. What about financing? Where does a guy go? This like small business loans? I don't know anything about that. What's the opportunity here?
Yeah. I mean, SBA is an option. So it's not something I've personally done, but I know that's widely available if you're looking to buy these businesses. And then there's seller financing. So say you're looking to buy a brand for $5 million, you can these deals get structured in a million different ways. And now it's turning more into a buyer's market. So you're probably going to be able to get more generous terms right now than you could have 18 months ago. So you can lower the amount of cash you're giving up front. And then, really think about it as three components. You could have a cash component. So the amount of cash you're giving the owner day one of close. Then you could have a component that's called an earnout, where they only get that if the brand does hits certain milestones in the future, and that incentivizes them to keep their eye on the ball. Or maybe you have them roll some equity, and that can be kind of in lieu of an earnout. And then you have a seller financing piece, which would just be, okay, I'm going to pay you. So $1 million of the $5 million purchase price is a promissory note, but it's not due for 18 months or 24 months, or maybe half of it's due in a year and the other half is due in 24 months. So you can kick that can down the road and then use the profits from the business to pay that in the future, right? So that's a cool way to kind of self-finance these without having to go through the SBA process and all of that, is just make part of the purchase price a seller note, and obviously the bigger the percentage of the purchase price that you can get as a seller note or as an earnout, the better, because that's reducing the amount of upfront cash you have to put in the business. Now you own the thing, you control it, and you can use those profits to pay off the earnout, to pay off the seller note down the road. And those are home runs when you can do that.
Wow. Okay. If you were to do a deal yourself, like what kind of deal would you do?
I would probably look for, enough scale, right? So probably, call it at least $500,000 in EBITDA, right? That shows there's some product market fit. There's some momentum. I would want to be in the right category. Like personally, I prefer domestic supply chains. I don't, want to wait 3 months for something to show up on a container. So I like domestic supply chains because I can get the product fast. I like, small, lightweight products like skincare and supplements. I like things that I can, sell for a premium price, so high margin. So I'd be looking for something with high margin, Yeah, I mean, and I look for something that's just like a good brand, right? I think there's a lot of Amazon only brands that they've kind of figured out how to hack the algorithm and they've got some success, but you look at the brand and you're like, this is a shit brand. Like it's ugly packaging, they like don't, the customer service is shitty. But they figured out how to manipulate something, right? Like those are the brands that I would want to avoid. Like personally, I would want to look for a real brand that has connected with consumers. You see this more on the direct to consumer side. I think you tend to see better brands built on the direct to consumer side because the bar is higher to cut through all the noise. You tend to find more hacky brands on the Amazon side. And so it's kind of wading through that and looking for the kind of more brands that have actually built an actual brand.
Phenomenal. Yeah. If I could add on top of that from a direct response perspective, I would be looking for an epic founder story, like an epic founder story, like maybe a nightmare thing happened to this guy that inspired him to go out and start this business. And I mean, the VSL is part of my thing is just looking for the story. I'm just looking for a story or looking for an authority figure who has a story, or even completing stories is also what I do, right? I find someone with a rock bottom moment who never actually got to the point where they found the solution and tested it and got a transformation. So I help push that. Or authority figures who lost weight and fixed their gut health, but never actually made it simple for everyone else to do it the same, which is what like Randy Jackson did. He had a weight loss transformation. And same thing with the Anita woman with another one of Golden Hippos brands, Activated You. They both had transformations using gut health products. Obviously, they didn't make their own supplement, but another guy came in, was like, hey, let's take what you learned and put it into a bottle and bada boom. So with Amazon only brands, I'm looking for real amazing founders who even also have authority behind their stuff, right? To help push that Facebook, YouTube, VSL place. And be like, yo, I'm going to basically make a documentary on you guys and I'm going to run Facebook and YouTube ads and everyone's going to hear about it. This brand's going to be huge. Throw me let's do a deal.
100%.
Combine that with everything you see. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. Look for brands that actually have substance and a soul to them, right? Or have that potential.
The soul.
Because there's those are in the minority, but that also makes it easier to identify the good ones because there are so many that just don't meet those criteria.
Epic, man. Well, for anyone out there who is down to go down this road, maybe also had a brand. I know I've been in the thought of like, hey, what do you do after you make a bunch of money? Which is why we went to the Geek Out Exec. And if you guys don't know, Alex was one of the speakers there talking about multifamily real estate, right? It seems like, and there were so many guys there talking about multifamily real estate. I had a lot of friends come to me saying that like, hey, they were invested in Alex. Alex made a lot of the guys there money. Congratulations on making a ton of the marketers there a bunch of money, man. Everyone had some amazing things to say. Even one of my old my mentor said he was throwing $100,000 to you guys. So that's what really also was like, maybe want to focus on it. So why did you get into I'm going to pivot this to multifamily real estate just so everyone can like just know the next step once you make a bunch of money with this stuff. Why multifamily real estate? And tell me about what you're doing with 12
Yeah. I mean, for me, I always wanted to get into real estate. And while I was running my e-commerce businesses, once I had some capital to work with, I started buying single family homes. Then I started buying smaller apartment buildings and really cut my teeth doing that. But figured out through that process, it was a lot of work. And so while I was running Zao and also dealing with all these properties, I discovered real estate syndications, which is really just a mechanism to pool a bunch of different investors' money together to buy larger commercial real estate properties. And so I discovered, I can just be a limited partner or what they call an LP, basically just a passive investor in those deals, write a check, not have to do any of the work, get paid distributions. And I was like, okay, this is a way better model. These properties are like distracting me from my core business. So I then just started writing checks and being a passive investor in a lot of these deals. Then when I sold, really was kind of figuring out what's next. And to be honest, at the time, I was completely burnt out on e-commerce. So the idea of just building another brand, if I were to build another brand, it would be supplements, and I had a non-compete, so that was off the table. So I was like, I want to do something completely different, and I knew that I knew that I wanted that to be real estate. So I went all in full-time real estate in 2017 when I sold. And fortunately at the time had a friend who was getting a real estate firm off the ground in the multifamily space. And most of my investing up to that point had all been multifamily. And there's, reasons for that. There's just really strong fundamentals in that space. That's a conversation for another day, but I knew that multifamily was specifically where I wanted to focus. So we partnered up together. He had all the operational experience of, running these properties, and he'd spent his whole career doing that. And then, he needed my balance sheet to close the loan, right? So when you buy these larger properties, the bank wants to see a net worth, equal to at least the loan amount. They want to see a certain level of liquidity. And so I was able to bring that to the table. I was going to put my own capital into the deal. And then I was offered to send it out to people in my network. I knew a lot of entrepreneurs and, e-commerce guys I'd met through the years. And I was like, I think they'd be interested. So I sent it out to them, and sure enough, had a ton of appetite for my network of people who wanted to invest, $75K, $100K, $200K, et cetera. And so through that process, learned I have this network that is in the same situation that I was just in, where they're running their business. They want exposure to real estate, but they're not going to go out and buy a single family house or go do something where that's going to require a lot of work out of them. We can buy these multifamily properties, operate them, manage them, and then give people who are full-time entrepreneurs or business owners a completely passive way to get exposure to institutional level multifamily deals. Like we're buying, our average acquisition is, $30 million. So we're buying large, kind of institutional quality deals, 250 units plus. And then we do all the management. We have fully vertically integrated firm where we do the property management and the construction management, renovations, et cetera. So since then, over the last 6 years, we've purchased about 9,000 units in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Texas. We've had great returns. The market's been really good, but the reason I like multifamily is that it's an asset class. If you study it historically through past recessions, it actually is the asset class within commercial that holds up the best during recession. So it's an asset class that will do well when the market's doing well, but it's one that holds up really well when the market is not doing well. So that's what we do now.
Phenomenal, bro. Yeah. So I heard this pitch in Orange County at Geek Out Execs. I heard all my friends talking about it. I heard my mentor say he threw you $100,000, and I'm like, that's it, no brainer. Obviously real estate that's where so much of the wealth is made. But my skill set is slamming on VSLs and slamming on Facebook, YouTube, and it really is a full-time thing to take that to the next level because that's where you get those big monster plays. So, to have a place where it's like, oh, I can get exposure to multifamily real estate, by just working with this guy or working with really anyone in the space, becoming an LP and just pretty much writing checks and getting residual income. It's a no-brainer. So, Alex, thanks for putting this together. I'm really excited to be working with you. If you guys don't know, I sent Alex some money also to get involved with this whole thing. And if anyone wants to sign up, I think it's 12oakcapital.com, right?
Yep. 12oakcapital.com. You can sign up to be on our investor list there. You can also email me at alex@12oakcapital.com. Always happy to get on calls, talk through if someone doesn't know anything about real estate or wherever they're at in the process. My favorite thing about what I do on the real estate side is the education side. So more than happy to always get on the phone and talk through that or talk through the e-commerce stuff. So I'm always available and love making those new connections.
Epic. Yeah, I signed up for the list also. He just literally sends cool deals. Right. Cool. I just deal flow, deal alert. I think that's something like that. Deal alert, something like that. Cool deal opportunity. And then you just look at it. You send it to your friend. What do you think about this? What do you think? I don't know. Let's try it. Dip your feet in, not be totally exposed to any single one. But that's it. Thanks a lot for coming on, Alex. I think this actually might change a lot of people's lives for sure. This is fascinating stuff. No one's talking about this. No one's talking about merging these two spaces.
Yeah. Well, they are now.
They are now, bro.
So, I really enjoyed this.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Alex. I hope we come up with another big idea to have you back on here.
All right. Anytime.
All right. See you, bro.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
All right. See you guys.